Hello, Steve Sipress here. Success Story Saturday, December 16th, 2017. Gonna make it a quick one because the sun is setting and we're about to lose the light for the day. But no, I didn't forget about you. And so, first, Rhino of the Day. I will share the Rhino of the Day as this blue, greenish, bluish, fuzzy, stuffed rhino, which says, washable, mild suds, cold water. Dry brush gently. Whatever. Never done any of that. Just put him on the shelf. All right. And there he is. All right. So, all the stuff in the news about this net neutrality thing, like the knee-jerk reaction of people that are clueless about it, hey, Jeff, is like they're going bonkers. People are going crazy over absolutely nothing. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. They all know nothing has changed, but the outrage crew that lives on the internet and all over the media love to have something to get outraged about. So if you follow it, they're all like, well, this could mean your prices are going up, and this could mean that this is going to happen, and it could mean a lot of things, but it doesn't mean anything. Okay, the internet is the same as the internet has always been until 2 years ago, when typical government overreach of the last administration overreached and started regulating something to solve a problem that didn't exist. And so now the current administration just said, yeah, get rid of that. I mean, everything is still the same. All the prices of everything is the same. All the bandwidth of everything is the same. The oversight is all the same. All the same rules are all in effect. Just more freedom is put into place because that's how business works. That's called capitalism. It works on freedom. It works on the promise that if you put something into it, you can get something out of it without thinking that the government's going to take it away from you. So this is great news for everybody that uses the internet, loves the internet, does business on the internet especially. Like, it's great news. However, that's not, of course, germane to Success Story Saturday, other than I'm going to talk about Steve Case, who is one of the co-founders of AOL, one of the early internet giants. And here's the deal. This is how Steve Case was able, look at that, my neighbor's coming home over there. Very nice. It's usually very quiet here, so when a car comes anywhere near us, I know it. And so, looks like somebody's actually visiting the neighbor, maybe coming over for a Saturday night dinner. Hey, Chris Bell is here. Good seeing you. So, Steve Case, born in Hawaii, and then went to school in Massachusetts, Williams College, for political science, but he immediately went into marketing. So he got his first jobs at a school in corporate America, and I think he worked for Procter & Gamble and like Pizza Hut or something in the marketing departments. And then his brother, who was a venture capitalist, an investor, had a piece of this computer game company and brought in Steve Case to help them with some kind of marketing. And right away, this was like in the early 80s. This is when I started my first multi-million-dollar business, a fantasy sports game company, and I used the internet to get scores coming over. Hey, Pete, to get scores coming over the internet so I can get my newsletters out in the mail. That nobody had internet service back then, and I was paying, I think, 10 cents a minute to CompuServe to watch those scores come in, especially like Monday Night Football. That final score and the statistics came in. I was able to get my computer programs running with all the statistics and get my newsletters printed off and getting them out in the mail on Tuesday morning. For all the other sports, the weeks ended on a Sunday, and I was able to get things out in the mail Monday, and people had in time for the next week. So it was very important to me when this came along, this chance to get immediate information. It was a godsend. Otherwise, before that, I was going to, my company was in Boston. I was going to the office of the Boston Globe on a Monday night or Tuesday morning at about 3 in the morning and waiting for those first papers to be printed and to be put onto the trucks, and I would grab one from them and then run back to the office and start computing all the programs about 3, 4 in the morning. So this CompuServe comes along, and I'm able to download scores 15 minutes after the game's over, like around midnight. And so that was fantastic, instead of having to obviously stay up till 4 in the morning and do all that kind of nonsense. So this is when Steve Case came along, and that game company, there was an aspect of that computer game company where you could download As the story goes, you could download the game over this internet, over this CompuServe, over this whatever. Well, here's the deal. All the early pioneers of the internet were scientists. They were all engineers and scientists with all the inner workings of the internet and putting together all the structures and all the computer programming and all the hardware and software and everything had to be done to create it. But Steve Case came along with the marketing background, not the computer tech background like the MIT and all this, and like caught up in all the doing and what the internet is. His mind was racing with ideas of how to improve it through marketing. And it's a great example of the wow strategy, which is something I created, but I didn't make it up out of thin air. I based it on decades, over a century of successful marketing by many people and many companies, and Steve Case with AOL is one of them. 2 decisions he made, both based on the wow strategy. So the wow strategy, and now I'm talking a little fast here because we are losing the light, but the first W of the word wow stands for the who. And everything is all about, you always got to think about your target market, your prospect, who you want to do business with you. You got to think from their point of view, give them what they want. That's the W in the word wow. The O stands for an irresistible offer. You got to make them an irresistible offer. I'd say 99% offers, you see, are extremely resistible. So we sit there and go, I got to think about it, or can you give me some more information, or I'm not sure, or I have some questions, or I got some objections you overcome. Obviously not irresistible offer. And the last part, the last W, stands for the way that you will use to get your ways that you will use to get your irresistible offer in front of your chosen who, the wow strategy, the who, the irresistible offer, and the ways of getting that offer to the who. Well, Steve Case, the way he built AOL was on 2 brilliant marketing decisions based on the W, the first W and the O. So the first W, he realized that, wait a minute, I am not going to make the AOL all about the information you can get or games you can play. You can do all that stuff. You can go surf the internet. You can get the news, the weather. You can play games. You can do all that stuff. He pretty much invented social media. I don't know if you remember, if you had AOL back then, like You've Got Mail, AOL was all about the chat rooms. He was the first one to make it a social experience. And people love that, and it became interactive, and I guess that's where the term, the Web 2.0 came from. Instead of just the internet just giving out information like those CompuServe, giving me the scores of the football games and all that, this became a two-way conversation, interactivity. Well, Steve Case was the pioneer of that with AOL, and then the second decision that just blew up AOL and made it number one, I think they peaked at around 25 to 30 million subscribers, all paying him $20 a month, was a brilliant decision based around the irresistible offer. He looked around and all the other providers, CompuServe and whatever, like I said, I was paying 10 cents a minute. So I would sit there with the old, connecting, taking minutes and minutes, and I'm like, come on already, but it still only cost me $1 or $2, but I'm like, something that should take like 20 seconds is taking 5 minutes, and I'm paying for every one of those minutes. He came along, he said, you know what? That's ridiculous. Let's give people unlimited use of AOL for $20 a month. And so, do you remember, like when he would send out the CDs and the discs, and it would say 100 free hours, or 50 free hours, or 1,000 free hours, and then it got to be unlimited free hours, and he realized people loved that. I mean, the same thing happened later in the phone wars. Remember when you had to pay per minute for long distance, and then it became unlimited. I remember when texting, look at this, another car, things are happening here. It's like rush hour. I remember when texting started, and I had friends who would complain like, man, I got a crazy bill. My teenage daughter is sending like 3,000 texts last month, and it's cost me $0.10 a piece, and it's crazy, and it's outrageous. Of course, and of course, I'm sure she was texting her friend sitting next to her in class or across the table at the lunchroom or whatever. Hey, Michelle is here. Great seeing you. And so when texting became unlimited, that's thinking about the customer, the who. That's how you got to think. And what would they want? They wouldn't want to pay per text. They don't want to pay per second on the internet. They want unlimited. So everyone pretty much went to AOL. And like I said, AOL just dominated the internet and later on merged with Time Warner and became like the #1 media company in the world. Can you hear me? There's an awful lot of noise going on across the street here. It's some very loud truck is backing out there. Hey, someone says they wish, Michelle, you had a texting business? Who knew? And so I'd love to hear about that sometime, Michelle. And so as the sun fades in the west, that's the story of Steve Case. Now, when he bowed out, after that merger, he bowed out of Time Warner, AOL, or AOL Time Warner, or whatever they call it, and he went into, he's in his 40s or something, or maybe 50 or something, went into, quote, retirement, but he became a venture capitalist, an investor, and, philanthropist, has a foundation, and he is known for saying that most of his investments are going to be outside of Silicon Valley, outside of the internet world. So he invests in, I think he has like almost 50 different companies he's invested in right now, including one which I said in the beginning, he was born in Hawaii. He actually has a share. I think it's called the Maui Pineapple Corporation or something, and he has like 30,000 acres of land growing pineapples back in Hawaii, but he doesn't live there. He actually, tidbit, little Steve Case AOL trivia for you, and I'll leave you with this. He actually now lives in a home in Virginia with his family that is the childhood home where Jackie Kennedy Onassis grew up as a little girl. So how about that? And Michelle says, Bobbin text with Sally Terry. Sounds like that's the name of the company and that's your partner? Anyway, love to hear about it someday. So that's it for Success Story Saturday. What can you take from that from Steve Case? He's using the WOW strategy. Always get to know the who and what your target market really wants, then give it to them with an irresistible offer. Hey, everyone else is charging per minute, nickel and diming you. You're sitting there panicking, going, oh, how long am I on here? Ooh, what's my budget? What's my bill going to be? He said, look, use it all you want. Let me treat you like a human being. It's unlimited. Use it as much as you want for $20, and boom, became a billionaire. So are you going to use the WOW strategy to become a billionaire? Hope so. Hope everyone does. And that's it for Success Story Saturday. I'll just check in tomorrow as I always do on Sunday Fun Day. I usually stay away from anything about business or any kind of long videos like this or any lessons learned or anything. And but I do check in because I made a promise back in March of this year that every day I would come to you with a new live video. So I'll say hello tomorrow on Sunday Fun Day. And I'll be back on Monday in all serious mode with Direct Mail Monday. So thanks, everyone, for being here today live. Anyone watching on the replay, as we are losing the light in beautiful Arizona. Another beautiful fall day here in the 60s. Loving life, and wish you were here. And I will catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye.